Well, I got my wish for Lexington. Not only did we win with Maury, we shockingly set a world record. That was your wish?
Yeah.
Okay. Not only did we win with them, but we set a world record with them. But that wasn't my wish. My wish was to have Amy and the kids come down on Friday. I had a lot. I'll tell you what. I told you guys the other day, you talk about all the driving I do and the work we put in. Amy arrived here with the kids. They all knowingly got in the car, drove to Kentucky Thursday after Oliver's football practice, and arrived in Lexington just before 2 a.m. What was that? Just before 2 a.m. on Friday morning. We all slept in, went to breakfast, and where'd we go? Went shopping? Went to see the babies. Went to see Maury. Went to see Maury set the world record in 1:51.4 for geldings. Now, it was odd. I was talking to somebody this morning and said, well, your record wouldn't have been in danger, but the horse you brought the full brother to, it certainly looked like he was going to set the world record 2 races later for stallions, for colts. Go Dog Go was up by 4 lengths? 4 lengths. Made a break on the front end. Aki's horse was soundly defeated. Ended up winning the race also in 1:51.4. So, not only we set the world record, but you got a glimpse at what might be when we take a look at a horse like Hanger One. I couldn't think of his name for a sec. Hanger One is his name. That's a full brother to Go Dog Go that we bought on day 1 in Lexington. Now, the sale itself was impressive. The win itself was impressive. But as I said, I'm getting a little bit older now, and the most impressive thing was that you actually did drive down and that the kids had fun. Addie hasn't been feeling great all week, but she takes it like an absolute trooper. And she was a little bit sick still on Friday evening, and we were still going to go to the sale. So I thought you and Ava and Addie and Ollie can stay at home at the hotel, watch some TV, relax, and Mom and I will go down to the sale for a little bit. She said, no. She wanted to go to the sale and see the horses. She looked tired, had a tiny nap at the sale, and then Denise was leaving. Oh my God, that was funny. Addie was sitting there, she's got her hood up, and she's watching the phone, and there's only about Memento Mori's brothers coming up in 20 minutes, 30 minutes. And Denise got up to leave, and I said to Addie, when she gets up, say, you're quitting already? And Denise got up, and Addie looked at her and I said, you're quitting already? Oh my God, I nearly died laughing. It was so much fun having the kids there. They get to experience a little bit of what Kentucky is. Man, what a fantastic week we had. All our clients were out there, and I walked through the crowd after Memento Mori won. And the first one was Greg. He didn't come out to the winner's circle. Greg, here's a guy that has done quietly pretty much as anybody has done for the stable. Now, I don't want to put him on the spot. He knows who he is. But he's standing outside the winner's circle and didn't come and get his picture taken. He goes, I don't own any Maury. Listen, guys, let me be as clear as I can. If you are a stable.ca member and any horse of ours that wins, not only are you welcome to come out, I openly invite you to come out. Please come out and get your picture taken with a stable horse at any point. This is our barn, and that's the way it should be. So, for Greg, I wish he had to come out, but I understand. And then he was busy watching Drebin and watching Stay Close. And, we've had a great week this week. I'll take just a moment to go through what happened outside Kentucky, because everything last week, for the most part, was about Kentucky, right? We had, what did we have on Monday? Chicago Hall raced absolutely tremendous, flying late, finished third, makes the final. Now, Chris Christopher will drive in the final, and I'm sure James has other drives in the final, but it would be pretty hard to have James book off of Chicago Hall knowingly, happily at the time, it appeared. Chris Christopher, who step in, the horse race great for him, and then not at least give him the opportunity to drive the horse in the final. I do feel a little bit loyal, a tiny bit loyal. I try not to be, because I know how the game is. But when it comes to this particular situation, I think that Chris probably should drive the horse. Fair is fair. Now, we saw Vehement make a break. He lost a shoe, made a break. I'm going home, trained him up. We entered him at the Meadows. He did not get in. If I was absolutely certain that he could step in and win a maiden right now at Mohawk, he'd be on a truck heading that way right now, because make a break off a qualifier, you can't race in Ohio, right? You you have to race. You can either race at the Meadows or Ontario. So I'm a little bit torn. Do we just wait the week? Maybe what we'll do is we'll wait a week to race at the Meadows. If we don't get in, I'll either requalify or send them over to Mohawk. Wednesday capped off what could have been an absolutely fantastic year for Arrowhead Hanover. Instead, it was just a really good year. That break, his only blemish on his entire card, was in the final. And to this day, I still have no idea why that horse, every so often I'll pull that race up and I'll watch it. And I just cannot put my finger on what went wrong with this horse on the day of the final. But he looked so great in Delaware. He was dialed right in. He looked so great the other day. Ronnie ran one with him in the Keystone Classic. He won with him. Aaron won with Time Is On My Side. It was just a great run all week long. We come out Wednesday. Arrowhead Hanover won. Westland Warrior won. Casanova Hall was second in race grade. All our overnight horses. And I fancy, like somebody said, I wasn't happy with the way Mr. Dubé drove the horse. Well, I can tell you one thing. I would have drove the horse the exact same way, and come hell or high water. Mark tried to cut her loose, getting to the front, past the quarter. She put a few steps in, and he had to sit up on her. And I'll be completely honest with you. If I was sitting out there with her, he would have parked me too. That's just the way it was. At that point, she was a deterrent from him. One, he cuts her loose and removes, fine. He cuts her loose and follows her, fine. But when she's out of gear, you can't trust that she's not going to do the same thing at the next turn, the final turn, and now you're out of the race. So Mark did the right thing. He still ended up getting beat. Thursday, we had 3 horses in. Insider Trading makes that break, but I knew what had happened, right? He got on top of the gate early, whether she get out of gear. It happens, not the end of the world. But everybody else raced good. Everybody else, the last 2 horses, both winners. La Dorian and Rock Shining Star, both won very handily on Thursday. Tony Alani come up to me on the track, on the side of the track. He said, "Did you race those horses?" I said, Vehement horse pulled a shoe and made a break. The other filly, she's been racing pretty good. She won her last 2. He said, I really like both those horses. He said, they weren't just going to be what we need them to be. I said, 100% understand. They both race good. Friday, we start the day off. I was so excited. We had pretty much got everything we wanted. We didn't need anything else. Friday was just Ohio in mixed regional horses. At that time it was. And quite frankly, if I'm going to be completely honest with everybody, my plan was to go to the races, see the babies, spend some time with my wife and kids, figure out something to do for the late afternoon, pop out to the sale, show the kids what the sale was all about, and then leave. That's what the plan was. It's funny how life is. Everything changed right after race 8. I was telling Amy, we decided to go out and see the babies, and we were really at a fork in the road. Do we go watch Memento Mori race, or do we just try to get out and see the babies and get in and see them and see if we can catch them? We opted to go out to the Red Mile first, and I'm ever glad we did. And I told Amy, the race was over. I was just so excited. I jumped up. I was so excited he won. We were going down the winner's circle, and I got about 10 feet away from the seat we were sitting in, and I heard them say world record. And it wasn't until that very point that I even realized how fast he went. I looked over at the teletimer, 51-4. I couldn't believe it. He raced so good because, Scott is always just so conscientious of what the horses are or they aren't, and he'll always err on the side of caution. And we had a pretty frank discussion, very constructive discussion all week, off and on, a couple of times at supper when we went out talking about Maury. And at that moment, Scott was kind of lobbying for him to go to Corbin. There's nothing wrong with that. And he's not a slam dunk anywhere. The horse deserves to go to the Breeders' Crown. And at that point, before he won at 51-4, he'd really just shown he was competitive in with the decent colts in Kentucky. A decent third, 4th place third last week. But it wasn't until after the 8th race, he come back to the winner's circle, and I looked at Scotty and I said, "Are you free for Corbin?" He's going to the Breeders' Crown. It was just such an exciting time, and so happy. I'd said in a video yesterday, happy for Eric, right? We go through this. It's human nature, and I try to be a bit of a sponge for all of it. Just take it all in and absorb it, get rid of it. People say, whether it be Harry or Dominic or Jason or Eric or anybody else, can we move the horse? It just doesn't seem like he's doing as good as he should. Well, that's because he's not doing as good as you think he should. And that's just human nature, right? I fall into that trap sometimes too. Our trainers do a good job. They work hard. I was very, very proud of the outcome the other day on a number of fronts. And yes, showing that again. This is 2 years in a row we won the international trot with a 2-year-old trotter. You might say, oh, well, it's an $80,000 stake race. Well, I'll tell you what it is. It's a stake race that has every major trainer on planet Earth in it from time to time. It's a Grand Circuit event. It's a big deal. And although the purse maybe not reflect that because it's a $320,000 purse divided by 4. There's 4 divisions. It is a big deal. We won it last year with Pickpocket. We won it this year with Memento Mori. It's not an easy thing to do. You're not going to roll into the Red Mile during Grand Circuit Week and just put trophies in your car and leave. It's a very difficult thing to do. So great job by Scotty, Eric, and Kathy. Just a wonderful job there. We're learning also as Kentucky as itself as a state changes, we will too. We got absolutely eviscerated in Oak Grove. That won't happen next year. Need to send bigger guns to Kentucky for Oak Grove. We're going to send some overnights. Make sure the babies are ready to go. Maury, Arson, those horses fit in great. Even Pickpocket, Memory and Imagination did. They were close. They did well. They weren't layovers, but they did well. So we learn also, right? There's a lot of continuity when it comes to how the horses are racing, where they're racing, when's the best time, can they do, can they not do. And some of it you have to kind of change on the fly. But I think we got a good idea of what Oak Grove's going to look like next year, right? And we'll be a little more ready when April, May, June rolls along in Kentucky. So Maury changed the entire landscape of the day. Now I went back and looked at my notes on his brother, the Centurion ATM. Nice colt. Nice head, moves nice. Great body. Waited for him to come down to the ring. He looked good. He's a stronger looking colt, as Amy noticed. He's a bigger, stronger colt than Maury. Maybe a little shorter barreled, as they like to say, than Maury. But when you look at him in the field, he trots clean. And as far as Centurion ATM, unless the horse was by Mick Wicked, it's not very nice to say, but it's just not really sought after. You can discount a Centurion ATM, that's fine. Okay, so how much is Memento Mori's full brother worth? Because if he's by Chapter 7 again, he sells on day 1 again, only probably brings a lot more money. No, he doesn't probably bring a lot more money. He absolutely brings a lot more money. So regardless of what you think is Centurion ATM, the discount afforded to us on day 5 in Lexington was, I would say, immense. Because correct-wise, there is zero wrong with the colt. Beautiful colt, isn't he? He is. And we continued on with Friday. Drebin raced good. Maybe didn't get the greatest trip. I know that Aaron was probably thinking he could get him to the front. It didn't work out. He ended up out down the backstretch, cleared, kind of went to sleep on the front end in the last turn, and ended up the beaten third, but raced well. Stayed close. Looked like he was beat the whole way down the lane and come back on and win, because as I like to joke about and say, and I did say, winners win. Lonely Lakewood, I should have had a little more of a conversation with Chris about this horse. You just can't drop the lines on the dashboard coming off the car. It's not that, I don't mean it like that. That's not what he did. But you got to let him dictate the tempo going into the turn. You can't force him. When you force him, those things will happen. And I should have been a little more forthcoming with him. I didn't. So that's supposedly on me also. JK Victory raced better to finish third. He'd been in a funk. He is in a funk. Let's see if he can get out of it. Admiral Dio, I saw the same qualifiers you guys did. Is he any good? I don't know. Has he got talent? Not sure. We almost bid on his sister or his brother. I might have, actually. I can't remember who was by and what it was out of, but I know that we looked, so obviously the horse never raced, so his name doesn't show up in the catalog. But when you look closer on updates, he was in there, and it said Admiral Dio, and even This is how busy I was all week. I saw the name Admiral Deal. He's our horse. I looked at Amy. I said, "You can't place that horse." Admiral Deal. Who is that? Oh, he's our horse. We have him right now in Ontario. He's about to race in another day. Anyway, race good. Last 16th, he was airborne. He was flying. Great job by Travis Cullen. Drove the horse great. Chime Bell race good. She will get better. Mark my words. She will get better. Chevron's Bypass, I thought, was a little flat. Let's see what happened from week 1 to week 2. What took place? It wasn't the same horse. Now, different class. She was in tougher, but not the same horse. Now, in about an hour and a half, we're going to watch Gymboree race. Then I'm going to go race our girl. Who's racing today, Addie Bear? Baby Princess. That's what she calls Gorgeous Package. She's racing today at 5 o'clock, and then we're going to end our night. We're going to end all of our nights with a bad post 8-hole with Irresistible Sun. As I said, we had a great week out of Lexington. But such a tremendous week in Lexington. I told everybody, if you've never been there, I know Marlene made it down this week. A couple of our clients from I think it was South Carolina. Was it North to South Carolina? Such nice people. They stayed all week with us. I don't want to drop names. They stayed all week with us. Told us about the devastation in South Carolina and how they just got in their car and came to Lexington. It was really nice to hang out with them. You know, the one day we literally had 16, 17, 18. Were you with us that day? We had like 16, 17, 18, almost 20 people in a group. We just showed up at the consignments, and the consigners looked at us. They were hoping that we were all together. Can you imagine if 20 people showed up at the same time looking at different horses? They were hoping we were together, but surprised that there was that many people in a group. But next year I would like to double that. Take the time, circle it on your calendar. You will never see another place like Lexington. It is extremely rare. Comes along once a year, and this year was just so good. The food was great, as it always is. Poor baby Princess. She's gonna tow my fat ass all around the track tonight. The food was great. The people were great. The horses we picked up. Although I said, when you have 943 horses and you have such a ridiculously amount of horses going for 6 figures, you just can't get what you want. It's almost impossible. And although the names and the hip numbers might be a little different, what we were trying to achieve, we most certainly did. Culminated. The very last horse in the ring that we bought was Memento Mori's half-brother.
You know what the next one was?
The next one what? Oh, I meant to tell you this.
I wonder what they went back to.
I know exactly what they went to.
What?
It's a Walmart.
Oh, good luck.
Yeah, you won't be getting that one. You won't be getting that one.
I can't figure out their line of thinking there.
Well, they're smart people, and they are breeders.
Yeah.
So I don't know whether Centurion ATM. Okay, I can tell you how we ended up. I'll tell you a little story. So we were trying to get my Jazz in full to Kings County, and it just didn't work. It didn't work. In fact, the problem with her was she was the only mare that we had that actually got in full to Kings County and absorbed it. So breeding season was almost over. We had one more shot. One more. I remember Jake Mossberger.
Oh,
What's wrong?
the suitcase fell on the dog.
That's all right. He's all right. Jake Mossberger had messaged me. I said, I can't remember how the conversation went, but the gist of it was, who is the most fertile trotting stallion you had? Because the year before she didn't get full. If she didn't get full this year, I don't know if we could have kept her. Messaged me back. He said, Centurion ATM seems good. I didn't even know he was breeding. I knew the name. I wasn't quite familiar with the horse, but I knew the name. I said, okay, cool. One shot, she got full right away, and she has the most beautiful foal. Isn't that a nice looking foal? He is beautiful. So although Centurion ATM, again, you're going to get a first crop sire with Memento Mori's brother, but again, you can't, there's just, the discount there does not equate to the stallion we're talking about. You know, if we're talking about a Walner or a Chapter 7, he's day one, he's $200,000-$300,000. So you're looking at an immense, as I said, immense discount for a colt that looks correct, is nice. And Amy and I were talking about it, and then she said, go back and look at Maury's video, and they are almost twins. Do yourself a favor, if you get back online, go back and look at Memento Mori's video against, what's his name? Neuromancer? What? Neuromancer, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. The Centurion ATM colt. So, just a tremendous time in Kentucky. I know we're going to talk about some of the yearlings in another video. We talked about it earlier. I think you said hip number 12 is your favorite, right? Of all the ones that we got. Amy picked this one out. It was on my list, but she had it way near the top. What was it? Royal Flush Deal. And mine was Pickpocket Sister, I just thought. And that says a lot because I don't have a share of Pickpocket Sister. Wish I did.
Let's remember her. Let's just learn her name.
Don't ask again.
No.
Yep, that's her name. Don't ask again. I'm almost certain of it.
Sounds like something I would say.
Sounds like something I do say. To them all the time. So that is Kentucky. We're going to talk about the yearlings in a little bit. We're going to talk about the week we had, but pretty hard to beat that. We get out of Kentucky with everything we wanted to do. We filled up our lists in the most strategic, surgical way that we always did. We ended up with a ton of high-powered yearlings. We won a race in Grand Circuit week that we won the year before, and we did it in world record fashion. World record fashion. So with that, I'm going to let you guys go. We're going to come back. We're going to talk about all the yearlings that we bought. I'm going to give you my thoughts on them all. Amy's going to give you her thoughts on them all. Our kind of quiet notes. And I will talk to you all very soon. Take care.